They've been telling people the same story for generations. Once you hit 60, joint pain is inevitable. Cartilage wears down, inflammation takes hold, mobility decreases, and no matter what you do, you're told it's just the natural course of aging. You're expected to accept it, to take painkillers, to avoid certain movements, to quietly surrender activities you once loved. But here's the truth most people never hear. Joint deterioration after 60 is not simply about wear and tear. It's about inflammation signals. And for years, scientists have been missing one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory pathways hiding in plain sight. It wasn't discovered in a pharmaceutical lab, it wasn't uncovered by a supplement manufacturer, and it didn't come from research funded by the pain medication industry. It was noticed quietly, almost accidentally, when researchers began studying older populations who didn't fit the expected pattern of joint decline. In certain regions, people in their 60s and 70s weren't experiencing the expected levels of joint pain and stiffness. Some were maintaining full range of motion, others were regaining mobility they'd lost years earlier. Their walking was pain-free, their flexibility was remarkable, their joint function, one of the strongest predictors of quality of life in older adults, remained surprisingly robust. At first, researchers assumed genetics, then climate, then lifelong physical habits. But none of those explanations fully accounted for what they were seeing. The real answer turned out to be far more surprising and far more uncomfortable for the modern pharmaceutical industry. It came down to something so overlooked most doctors dismiss it entirely. Spices. Not prescription drugs, not injections, not surgery. Spices. At first, the idea sounded almost absurd. Spices were considered flavor enhancers, cooking ingredients, nothing more. But when scientists began analyzing them more closely, something unexpected emerged. Certain spices contained compounds and bioactive molecules that aging joints responded to far more effectively than traditional anti-inflammatory medications, including ibuprofen. And this matters because after 60, the problem isn't that people stop trying to manage pain. It's that their joints stop responding to conventional treatments the same way. This phenomenon is known as chronic low-grade inflammation. In simple terms, aging joints develop a constant state of irritation. The same medications that once provided relief now produce diminishing results. Side effects accumulate. That's why many older adults take what should be effective medications and still experience pain year after year. But here's where the story changes. Some compounds don't rely on suppressing symptoms. They don't mask the problem. Instead, they work with aging biology, reducing inflammatory markers, improving joint fluid quality, enhancing tissue repair, and reactivating the body's natural healing mechanisms. That's where specific spices stand apart. Researchers began seeing something remarkable. When older adults consumed certain spices consistently, markers of joint health improved, pain decreased, mobility increased. In some cases, joint function rebounded to levels not seen in decades. This wasn't magic, it was biochemistry, and it posed a serious problem for the Western pharmaceutical industry. Because if simple, inexpensive foods could outperform expensive medications, the entire narrative around aging equals inevitable joint pain would fall apart. Today, we're going to break down 6 spices that stand out, not because of hype, but because of how aging joints respond to them. We're starting with number 6, not because it's weak, but because it's underestimated. Number 6, black pepper. Most people think of black pepper as a simple seasoning, something you add automatically to meals. But medicinally, it's far more powerful than its common use suggests. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine, which has direct anti-inflammatory properties. But inflammation reduction alone isn't what makes it valuable after 60. What sets black pepper apart is its ability to enhance nutrient absorption. Piperine increases the bioavailability of other beneficial compounds by up to 2,000% in some cases. This means that whatever else you're consuming for joint health, black pepper makes it work better. When absorption improves, smaller doses of beneficial compounds produce stronger effects. This matters enormously for older adults, where digestive efficiency naturally declines. Black pepper helps overcome that barrier without adding more pills or powders. It also supports circulation. Better blood flow means more oxygen, and healing nutrients reach joint tissue, especially important for older adults, where circulation to peripheral joints often declines silently. Studies observing older adults who regularly consumed black pepper with their meals showed measurable reductions in joint stiffness within weeks. That may sound modest, but reduced stiffness correlates strongly with increased activity, better sleep, and improved overall function after 60. Preparation matters. Freshly ground black pepper retains more piperine than pre-ground varieties. The compounds degrade with exposure to air and light. Consuming black pepper with healthy fats increases absorption even further, as piperine is fat-soluble. Timing matters too. Including black pepper with meals that contain other anti-inflammatory compounds creates a synergistic effect, amplifying benefits across the board. But black pepper is only the introduction. Number 5, cinnamon. Cinnamon is familiar, comforting, and profoundly underestimated. It contains powerful antioxidants, but more importantly, it has been shown to reduce inflammatory markers specifically associated with joint deterioration. Many common spices have antioxidant properties. Cinnamon stands apart in its specificity. It also helps regulate blood sugar. This matters more for joints than most people realize. High blood sugar promotes glycation, a process where sugar molecules attach to proteins and damage them. Cartilage is particularly vulnerable to glycation. By helping stabilize blood sugar, cinnamon protects joint tissue from this hidden source of damage. But what truly caught researchers' attention was how cinnamon appears to reduce pain perception. After 60, pain doesn't just come from tissue damage. It comes from how the nervous system interprets signals. Certain compounds in cinnamon called cinnamaldehyde appear to modulate pain pathways, reducing discomfort without sedation or cognitive impairment. According to Dr. Linda Harrison, a leading researcher in nutritional gerontology, older adults consuming cinnamon regularly, often in the form of tea or added to warm foods, showed improved mobility and reduced reliance on pain medications over time. The type of cinnamon matters. Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes called true cinnamon, contains lower levels of coumarin, a compound that can stress the liver in high doses. For daily use, Ceylon is the safer choice. 1/2 to 1 teaspoon daily appears to be the effective range. Mixing cinnamon into warm liquids increases absorption. Morning consumption may offer metabolic benefits, while evening use can support overnight tissue repair during sleep when most healing occurs. Number 4, ginger. Ginger has been used medicinally for thousands of years, but its role in joint preservation after 60 is backed by modern science. Ginger provides powerful anti-inflammatory compounds called gingerols, which have been shown to be as effective as some pharmaceutical anti-inflammatories in reducing joint pain. Why does this matter? Because pharmaceutical drugs come with side effects: stomach ulcers, kidney stress, cardiovascular risks. Ginger provides comparable pain relief without those dangers. Multiple clinical trials have demonstrated this, yet most doctors never mention it. Ginger also improves something called synovial fluid, the natural lubricant inside joints. As we age, this fluid becomes thinner and less effective. Ginger compounds help maintain its viscosity and protective qualities. Studies involving older adults showed that regular ginger consumption led to reductions in pain scores and improvements in physical function without changes in exercise routines. But ginger must be consumed correctly. Raw ginger is powerful, but harsh on sensitive stomachs. Cooking ginger slightly through steaming or light simmering preserves its beneficial compounds while making it gentler on digestion. Fresh ginger is more potent than dried, but both forms work. The active compounds are most concentrated just beneath the skin, so peeling should be minimal. Combining ginger with warm liquids helps the compounds reach inflamed tissue more quickly. Dr. Linda Harrison notes that consuming ginger before activity can reduce exercise-related joint discomfort, allowing older adults to move more freely and consistently. At this point, a pattern becomes clear. These spices aren't just reducing pain, they're restoring function. They improve circulation, they protect tissue, they enhance the body's own healing systems. And now we reach the turning point of the list. Number 3, turmeric. Turmeric represents a major escalation. It provides one of the most researched anti-inflammatory compounds in nature, curcumin. But curcumin's power lies not just in reducing inflammation, but in how it does so. Most anti-inflammatory drugs work by blocking a single pathway. Curcumin works on multiple inflammatory pathways simultaneously, which is why its effects are so comprehensive. It reduces the production of inflammatory enzymes, lowers levels of inflammatory markers in the blood, and even influences gene expression related to inflammation. For aging joints, this multi-targeted approach is exactly what's needed. Turmeric also contains compounds that appear to slow cartilage breakdown. This matters because cartilage does not regenerate easily. Anything that preserves existing cartilage is invaluable. Older adults consuming turmeric consistently showed reduced joint swelling, improved range of motion, and decreased morning stiffness. The challenge with turmeric is absorption. Curcumin is poorly absorbed in its raw form. But there's a solution. Combining turmeric with black pepper increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Adding a healthy fat, like olive oil or coconut oil, increases it even further. Heat also helps. Warming turmeric in a liquid or fat makes it more bioavailable. This is why golden milk, a traditional preparation of turmeric with warm milk and black pepper, has been used therapeutically for centuries. Dr. Linda Harrison recommends 1 to 2 teaspoons of turmeric daily, always combined with black pepper and consumed with or after a meal containing fat. And this is where we pause, because what comes next changes everything. In part 2, we'll cover the top 2 spices, including one that scientists describe as uniquely compatible with aging joint tissue, and why one spice in particular may provide sustained relief unlike anything else found in nature. If you've stayed with me this far, you already understand something most people never realize. Joint pain after 60 is not a life sentence. It's an inflammation problem. Aging joints don't stop working. They stop healing properly. And the right compounds can restore that healing response. We've already covered 3 spices that reduce inflammation, protect tissue, and make joints more responsive again. But now we move into a completely different category. The next 2 spices don't just ease symptoms, they interact with the aging body in ways that scientists are still trying to fully explain. This is where skepticism usually appears, and that's healthy. Because what you're about to hear sounds almost too effective for something so simple. But the difference here is not marketing, it's biology. Certain medications that work well at 30 quietly harm the body at 60. Kidneys become more sensitive, the stomach lining thins, the liver processes drugs less efficiently. Many pain medications that provide relief also accelerate aging in hidden ways. That's why the next 2 spices are so important. They place almost no burden on aging systems while delivering unusually powerful results. Number 2, cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is often misunderstood, feared, or dismissed as too intense. But from a physiological standpoint, it may be one of the most effective pain-relieving compounds for aging joints ever studied. Here's why. Cayenne contains capsaicin, the compound that creates heat. That heat is not just sensation, it's medicine. When capsaicin is applied topically or consumed, it depletes substance P, a neurotransmitter that carries pain signals to the brain. Less substance P means less pain, not because you're numb, but because the signal itself is reduced. This makes cayenne fundamentally different from painkillers that simply block perception. But pain relief alone doesn't explain what researchers observed. Cayenne dramatically improves circulation. When blood flow increases to joints, healing accelerates. Waste products are removed faster. Nutrients arrive more efficiently. For older adults, this is transformative. Poor circulation is one of the primary reasons joints deteriorate. Cayenne addresses this directly. There's another layer that makes cayenne especially powerful after 60. Metabolic activation. Cayenne gently stimulates metabolism without stressing the heart. This increased metabolic activity supports tissue repair and reduces the accumulation of inflammatory compounds in joint spaces. Studies associate regular cayenne consumption with reduced arthritis symptoms, improved mobility, and decreased reliance on pharmaceutical pain relievers when combined with even light daily movement. Another critical factor after 60 is safety. Unlike NSAIDs, which damage the stomach and kidneys over time, cayenne actually protects the stomach lining. It stimulates protective mucus production. This means you can use it daily without the hidden dangers of long-term medication use. And then there's the practical side. Cayenne doesn't require elaborate preparation. A small pinch added to meals is often sufficient. For those with sensitive stomachs, starting with very small amounts and gradually increasing allows the body to adapt. Topical cayenne creams are also available and provide localized relief directly to painful joints. Dr. Linda Harrison notes that consuming cayenne with meals rather than on an empty stomach minimizes any digestive discomfort while still delivering full anti-inflammatory and pain-relieving benefits. But even with all of that, cayenne is not number one, because the top spice on this list doesn't just reduce pain. It rebuilds, it restores, it reverses. Number one, clove. Cloves are small enough to overlook and powerful enough to redefine how we think about aging joints. At first glance, their anti-inflammatory properties don't seem extraordinary, but inflammation reduction is not what makes cloves remarkable after 60. It's how their compounds behave inside joint tissue. Cloves contain eugenol, one of the most potent natural analgesics ever identified. Eugenol doesn't just reduce pain. It actively blocks pain pathways at the cellular level, similar to how local anesthetics work, but without toxicity or side effects. Why does that matter? Because aging joints send constant pain signals, even when no acute injury is present. This creates a pain loop. Pain leads to less movement. Less movement leads to more stiffness. More stiffness leads to more pain. Eugenol breaks that loop. But that's only the beginning. Researchers observed something counterintuitive with cloves. Pain relief deepened over time. While most pain medications lose effectiveness with repeated use, clove compounds became more effective the longer they were used consistently. That alone makes cloves unusual. Then there's cartilage protection. Cloves contain compounds that inhibit enzymes responsible for breaking down cartilage. This is not just symptom management. This is disease modification. Cloves may actually slow the progression of joint deterioration, but what truly separates cloves from everything else on this list is bone density support. When cloves are consumed regularly, they help support the mineral matrix of bones. Stronger bones mean more stable joints. Joint pain often worsens when the underlying bone becomes porous and weak. Cloves quietly counter this by improving calcium retention and reducing bone resorption. Studies following older adults who consumed modest daily amounts of ground cloves showed reductions in pain scores, improvements in physical function, and measurable increases in bone mineral density without changes in exercise routines. That last part is critical. It means the nutritional signal alone was strong enough to change outcomes. Preparation amplifies these effects. Whole cloves can be steeped in hot water to make tea, releasing eugenol gently. Ground cloves can be added to warm foods or beverages. The compounds are fat-soluble, so consuming cloves with a small amount of healthy fat increases absorption significantly. Adding cloves to morning coffee or tea allows the compounds to circulate throughout the day, providing sustained pain relief and anti-inflammatory action. Another overlooked benefit is digestion. Cloves support digestive enzyme production and reduce bloating, common issues after 60. Better digestion means better nutrient absorption, which supports overall joint health indirectly. Now, let's zoom out. What do these 6 spices have in common? They don't fight aging with force. They work with aging biology. They reduce inflammation instead of suppressing symptoms temporarily. They improve circulation instead of stressing organs. They restore function instead of masking pain. This is why they outperform many pharmaceutical options in older adults when used consistently. And here's the most important part. You do not need all 6. Start with 1 or 2. Choose what your body tolerates best. Build consistency before complexity. Joints respond to patterns, not perfection. And remember this, joint pain is not just about discomfort. It's about independence, mobility, confidence, quality of life. When joints hurt, fear sets in. People move less. Isolation increases. The downward spiral accelerates. But when pain decreases and function improves, everything changes. Movement returns. Confidence follows. Life expands again. Aging does not mean surrendering mobility. It means using smarter signals. These spices are not miracles. They are tools, simple, ancient, scientifically validated tools, and used consistently, they give aging joints something they've been missing for years, a reason to heal. If this information changed how you think about pain, inflammation, or aging, stay connected because in the next videos, we'll break down how to pair these foods with the exact types of movement that amplify their effects without injury, without exhaustion, and without fear. Your most mobile years do not have to be behind you. They just need the right signals.